Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our series. Today we're going to continue with the hair card creation, and in this case we're going to be working with the baking of the different textures. Now, we already have this is the final result for my hair layout, and one cool thing about this, guys, is the fact that you can actually, if you do this and you bake your cards and then you start placing them and you find out that maybe it's a little bit too dense or the hairs are too thin or something, you can just come back here, modify all of this collections and descriptions, redo the passes, and you should be fine. Like it's a very clean workflow that you can repeat several times in case you need to tweak several things. So here's the thing. I'm gonna grab all the geometry from the hair cards and I'm gonna hide it. Control H to hide it. And the first thing we need to do is we need to determine which maps we're gonna need to bake. And for this, I'm gonna give you a short list here. So we need a diffuse map, which is the color of the hair. We need a normal map so that we get a little bit of relief. We need the ambient occlusion that's gonna give us a lot of depth to the hair. We need something called the transparency, of course, because that's the one that we're gonna use to cut the cards. We're gonna use one extra map called the direction map. And this is to get a nicer shine in the hair. Other than that, we're gonna need a specular map, but the specular, to be honest, it's a special map that we're gonna be doing very fast in Photoshop. We don't need to bake anything from here. From this guys right here, we're gonna be using Arnold Renderer to do the passes. So let me show you. I'm gonna activate Arnold first of all. I'm gonna go into Windows, Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager. I'm gonna type down MTOA, Maya to Arnold, and I'm gonna load it. I normally don't have my engines loaded because they do occupy a little bit of memory, and if you're not going to use them, if you're just modeling or texturing, you don't really need it. Now, before we do the render, we actually need a little bit of light, because if I were to just go into the Arnold render view, of course, make sure that Arnold render is set up here, and I do a quick render, it's going to look super flat. Like the hair is going to look uninteresting, like completely uninteresting. There's like a global illumination going on, but it's very very ugly, and we don't get a lot of nice variation in the hairstyles. Not even if we were to add any other thing, and that's because we only have this directional light. If I turn off the directional light, we're not gonna see anything. So we do need a light to give our hair a cool look. However, if we use all of the lights here in Maya, they tend to be a little bit too artificial for my taste, and I prefer to use a little bit more advanced elements. So let me show you here. I'm gonna open a new window. Oh, where is it? There we go. We're gonna go to something called HDR Haven. HDR Haven is a free site that you can look for, and it's really cool because it allows you to download a lot of cool HDRs. You're gonna go for the low contrast HDRIs. I personally picked, if I'm not mistaken, this one right here, the Rokenkreuz. And because it's an overcast day, you can see there's no harsh shadows. It's very soft light, and it gives us a nice natural color. So with that done, I'm going to go into Arnold. I'm going to say light, and I'm going to create a sky dome light. In this sky dome, I'm going to attach to the color node a file node that's going to reference the HDR that I just downloaded, which is this Rokenkreuz 2HK. There we go. So now when we do a render, Arnold render view, should be this one right here. Nope, this one right here. If we do a new render, there we go. So now our hair actually lives in an environment and it looks like hair. It started looking a little bit more realistic. The colors are going to be more or nicer, of course. There is a little bit of grain, which we're going to be getting rid of later on. But this is a very good start for it. The only issue that we have is the alpha channel. If you see this, the alpha channel is present on our image. Like there's no cutout of the hair. And that's because it's taking the HDR as part of the scene, and it's baking the depth or the transparency back into the texture, which we don't want. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my HDR. I'm going to go down here into the visibility tab and going to place 0 on the camera tab. Now, if we do a new render, there we go. It's just the hair on top of a black background, which is exactly what we need. And if you check the alpha channel, this is exactly what we're going to be needing for our different maps. So we have everything set up to get our bakes. The only thing we need to work with now is the actual hair. We need to do a little bit of tweaking to the hair shader to make sure it looks the best possible way. And for that, we're going to jump into the Hypershade right here. And I'm going to go down here into the Arnold shader tabs. And I'm going to look for the Arnold standard hair. Now the cool thing about the standard hair is that it actually comes with several presets that are really really good. Like we only need to tweak a little bit of the presets to get a very nice looking hair. If you were to do grooming for like film or cinematics and stuff, you probably would need to tweak these things a lot more. But for games, you can get away with just the simple tweaks to get it to look nice. So let's call this soldier hair, and I'm gonna click here in presets. And I'm gonna go for like an auburn hair. I don't want to go for the dark brown because I believe it's a little bit too brown, and with this it's gonna be a little bit easier to control it first. So if we check the render now, we haven't assigned the material, right? So to assign the material, you're gonna grab all the descriptions, right click here on the viewport, and just add the solder here. There we go. So now when we do the render, there we go. Look at that. That's a beautiful hair. It looks really, really nice. And the fact that the light is very soft and very consistent throughout the whole space, making it so that we don't get any weird shadings or any weird. We do get a little bit of highlights here and there, but I think those are fine. Those read nice. We can later on get rid of a little bit of them if we want. And yeah, so this is a cool color. However, our concept, I believe I have it right here. As you can see, it's a little bit darker, and this one looks a little bit too red. So I'm going to grab any of the descriptions here. Oh, undo that. I'm going to go here into the solder here. And there's a couple of things we can change. Melanin is the amount of blackness that is on the hair. Melanin is a pigment that our body produces. And the more melanin you have, the darker the tone gets, both for hair and for skin. So in this case, if I up this to like 0.8, you're going to see that the hair becomes way darker. I think 0.8 is a good color. I usually don't like to go to full black because it becomes very difficult to see later on in the render. So even if you have like a very, very dark hair, always having a little bit of pigment helps. Now, the melanin redness is how red it gets in certain areas, which in our case, I don't think it's that necessary. So I'm going to lower this to like a 0.5. There we go. That already looks closer to what I'm looking for in regards to our character. Now you can see that at first it looks like the hair is very white. It's not white, it's actually the reflection. And the more samples and the more rendering time you give the render, the better those samples and those elements are going to look. See here? Like this looks really bad, but this already looks better. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So what else can we do? If we go back here, we can lower the roughness a little bit, to have a little bit of a shinier hair, a little bit more fresh. And then melanin randomize. This is a very cool button that allows us to have a little bit of variation between the values. We already have it, but it's mainly because of the lights and the transparency or the thickness of each segment of the hair. If we add a little bit of melanin randomness, let's say like a 0.3, what we're gonna have is some strands of hair are gonna be more into the blondish side. Some of them will be a little bit darker, and you can see that we get a very cool, more natural looking hair, because hair is very, very distinct. Like not every hair strand is the same, so that's why it's important to have a little bit of randomization there. So see, that's pretty cool. Now, if you can't manage to get the perfect color here in Arnold, don't worry. We can always go back in Photoshop and tweak the texture directly in Photoshop to get a very cool result. So what you need to do now is you're gonna wait for this to finish. I'm gonna pause the video real quick and show you what happens at the end. The samples are a little bit low, so I would definitely go back here into the render settings and change the samples to probably like 4. I think 3 is fine. 3, and 3. I would add probably 3 to the diffuse, spectral, and transmission to get rid of a little bit of the noise that we're getting here, and to get a little bit more of a defined look. But once the rendering is done, we're going to take this image out into Photoshop, and I'm going to show you how to convert it into usable images that we're going to be utilizing for our character. So I'm going to pause the video real quick, and in just a second, I'll show you the final result of this preliminary test and how to export it into Photoshop. Perfect. So this is the final result for our image. This is a 2K resolution. I set this up beforehand in the render settings, and you can see it looks really, really good. Like the roots of the hair are a little bit more saturated in color than the tips, which become a little bit more bleached, which is perfect. We have a very good density, I think. If it's too much, don't worry. We'll come back, just modify the density of our hair a little bit lower. Maybe the thickness, change it a little bit as well. But I think this looks really good. Like for the amount of area that I want to cover, I think this is going to look great. So now let me show you how to bring this out into Photoshop. You're going to go here into File, and this one in particular, the color one, you want to save it as a multi-layer EXR. You can see I have it here. So I'm going to call it diffuse solder here. I'm going to save it. Okay. Now in Photoshop, I'm going to open that image. Let's go to the projects and to our project. There we go. I have this plugin called EXR.io. You can download it for free from Google, from the internet. And this allows you to work a little bit better with 32-bit maps. So I strongly recommend you have it, especially if you open your EXR and it's all black. It's possibly because you're missing something like this. So I'll open this thing up and there we go. Now the only thing is we need to change this into a workable amount of resolution. So for instance, right now we're at 32 bits of depth. I'm gonna go into image mode and I'm gonna change this to 16 bits per channel. I'm gonna say do not merge. And there we go. The colors might change slightly, but don't worry, that's totally fine. And this is it. This is our diffuse channel. So I'm just gonna grab all of this element and I'm gonna save this as our targa. Remember, we're saving everything as targas because that's the best possible. Oh yeah, targas it's at 8 bits, so we need to move this down to 8 bits. Sorry, mode 8 bits. There we go. You can see from 16 bits to 8 bits, there's really not much of a difference. Targa, there we go. So diffuse holder here, perfect, save. I'm gonna say, yeah, 13 bits per channel, that's fine. And then I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna save this one, same thing as a targa file, but this one's gonna be called transparency. There we go. Same thing, 32 bits per channel. That's the best possible resolution that you can get on the targa, and it's going to allow you to have a very crisp looking lines here on the fibers, which is going to be super important for the overall look of the character. I do think they're a little bit too dense. Like I would probably like to see a little bit more transparency here and there, especially for this guys. We'll see how it looks once we start placing the guides, but I think it's especially these guys, which are supposed to be the transition lines, this could be a little bit less dense, but same thing, just go back and redo it. Now, the next maps that we need is the normal map, and this one's it's a cool one. Let me show you. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to go back here into the Hypershade, and I'm going to create something called an Arnold utility node. So in the Arnold shaders, there's one called the AI utility. And this one is going to be my normal bake. There we go. Now this normal bake, I'm going to change the shading mode to flat, and I'm going to change the color mode to normal. And I'm going to assign that shader to the whole collection. Now remember, the cool thing is all the materials are safe, so if I ever need to go back to any of the other materials, it's very easy. I just select them and that's it. So now, if we go back here to the render view, and we render, let's stop this and let's do it again. Oh, it seems like I didn't select all of them. Assign existing material, normal bake. Sometimes you need to close the render view for it to like update. There we go. So this is working very nice. You can see that there are actually different colors there. It might be a little bit difficult to tell, but you should see like a color, like a couple of greens and purples and stuff. So this normal map is working fine. The issue is that it's actually applying this thing called the color management. It's a little bit difficult to see right now, but this is linearized. It's pretty much modifying the way the color looks. So in order to make it appear nice to us in the computer, but that's actually not helping us for what we want. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the, where is it? You're gonna go here into File, Save Image Options, and you're gonna change this. You're gonna say the Apply Shader Management, you're gonna say Disable. You're gonna use the Raw element. There we go. And now we are gonna save the image. And we're gonna save this, in this case, here. Let's call it normal for now. Dot, and let's say we have a targa, DGA. Now let's go to our Photoshop file here and see how it looks. Here, normal, there you go. There we go. So see, now with this, the colors of the hair are actually way closer to what we're expecting. The only thing I don't like is the fact that since we're saving it as an 8-bit, we lose a little bit of the options. So this looks more like the normal that I'm expecting to see. As you can see, it doesn't look as washed out as what we have here in Maya. But I'm gonna actually save it as a multi-layer EXR. Let's call this normal soldier hair. Let's go back into Photoshop. Let's close this guy. Let's open the normal soldier hair. There we go. Yeah, much better. Oh, actually, no, it's the washed out version. Don't worry, there's a very easy way to fix it here as well. So I'm gonna go into image mode. I'm gonna say change it to 8 bits per channel. And I'm gonna say, in this case, I'm gonna say merge. Now, as you can see here, when I do the merging, we get this option. What it's trying to do, it's trying to compensate or recalibrate the color. So you're gonna change this to exposure and gamma. And that should give us the better element. Now, if you up the gamma here, you're gonna see it becomes way darker. If you lower the gamma, it becomes way more transparent. So by modifying, I can't remember exactly the number here. let's keep it normal. Let's do 1 and 0. There's a way to equalize this elements. Okay, sorry for that. I did a quick pause just to look for the specific number because it's very mathematically exact. But the number for the gamma correction, in case you're missing it, it's very simple. Go image, mode, or sorry, adjustments, and you're gonna change the exposure. And in the gamma correction, you're gonna go 0.45, 45, 45. There you go. That looks like a normal map, right? That's exactly what we normally expect from our normal map. So this should allow us to give a little bit of a bump there in our normal maps. And another way to check this out is if you create a new layer and we go for the basic normal map color, which is, oh, it's a, where is it? Normal map base color. Let me look at it real quick because there's as well a very specific value range. You can always just sample it. Let me see if I can sample it. No, I can't. That's fine. Let's just copy it real quick. Oh, cancel. Control P. So if we place the basic normal map on the back, we should see, there it is. So that's the color. So if we place this here, we would of course need the transparency, which we can get from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of the transparency. This is just for demonstration's sake. You don't need to actually do this. So I'm going to create a mask here. I'll click on the mask and Control V there, and there we go. So as you can see, there is a difference in the normal. Like the things are moving in and out of the different parts of the normal map. The tones are different, so that should give us a very nice looking normal map back in Marmoset once we do the baking. So I'm going to save this as a targa. Where's the target file? There we go. And we're going to save this as normal soldier here. Actually, let's use that that naming convention. Cool. So finally, guys, the last one that we're gonna do, or there's two more actually that we need to do here in Maya. It's the ambient occlusion, which is actually very, very easy because we already have an ambient occlusion shader, which is this one right here. So you just need to create the shader, grab all the descriptions, assign the existing material, the ambient occlusion, and do a new render. There we go. Let's do a new render. There we go. So same thing, you just wait for the ambient occlusion to finish and we're gonna have a very nice ambient occlusion map. I suggest you export it as an EXR as well and then just bring it down. Otherwise you get those weird artifacts on the borders, which are not nice at all. But look at that. That deftness that you're seeing there, that shadowing that you're seeing there, that's gonna give us a lot of volume in our hair, and that's gonna be very, very important for the final product, or for the final render. Other than that, there's one more. I'm going to stop this right here and I'm going to finish it and save it as a separate option. But there's one more that I'm actually appending this file for you. If you go into your project files, there's going to be one little element in your assets folder called hair AOVs. This is a scene that was given by an artist that goes by the name of Shura. He wrote a tutorial about hair reproduction as well for Marmoset, and it's a really good tutorial in which he goes over most of the stuff that we're going here, actually a little bit more in depth, so I strongly recommend you check it out as well. And he shares these AOVs that allow you to bake the ambient occlusion, the normal map, and the direction map. The direction map is the one that I'm more concerned about, because this one is the one that tells the hair how it should shine. And the reason why I'm not going to use this too is because we already have the utilities. He wrote this tutorial a couple years ago, so that's why these guys have already been sort of implemented on the general pipeline. So in this case, it's going to be the same thing. I'm just going to grab all the descriptions here. And there should be one called Hair AOV Shuma. Shuma was his name. And direction. And did it work? Camera direction. Now let's see if it works. So what we should expect now, oh, it didn't work for a reason. Let's try again. Shuma direction map. What does it say? Internal standing ESE. Oh, okay. You know what might be happening, and this is so simple. In the XGen files, because I believe this is a, what kind of shader is this? Here it is. I think this is not assigned to any shader, so we need to assign it to a shader. So I'm gonna just grab like a normal AI standard, or I'm not sure if is there like an AI flat. Yeah, I'm gonna use AI flat. There we go. And I'm gonna use the color. There we go. Because I think that was the missing connection. So we do this now, and we do the AI flat. There we go. So I saw a change in color there. That means they were closer to what I'm looking for. There we go. So most of the hairs, in this case, since they're all growing from the bottom to the top, they will be green, which is fine. But if you're doing like a ponytail or like beard and stuff, and you need to place the hair cards in the direction in which the hair is growing, and this will change the colors. Now we also face the same issue that we face with the normal map. These colors are a little bit blown out, and they're not properly gamma corrected. So I'm gonna save this multi-layer EXR. I'm gonna save this as direction, and back in Photoshop, sorry, we're gonna open the direction solder here, open, and we're gonna do the same image mode. Let's do it beats. Let's say merge, and in this case, you can do it directly here. The thing they do with the gamma. Instead of this, you're gonna say the gamma should be 0.45, 45, 45. Okay. So that's like the proper color. I think it's the proper color. Let me double check. So image mode 8 bits. Let's not merge, and let's do it manually. So adjustments, exposure. No, it's gamma correction. It's a different thing. Yeah, there we go. So that's the proper color. Like the nice green that we were looking for. So you can see here that the hairs have a slightly different tones of greens and yellows throughout the elements. That's pretty much gonna tell the shine of the hair where to go through the hair. So it's gonna do something called an anisotropic shine, which is exactly what we're looking for. So I'm gonna do the last one, guys, and then I'm just gonna finish the ambient occlusion, and in the next video I'm gonna show you how to set everything of this up, or how to make sure that all of this works properly in Marmoset. So the last one, it's a very simple one. I'm actually gonna do it right here. You're gonna grab a black layer, you're gonna say filter, you're gonna add noise right here. Go crazy with the noise, like really high numbers, that's fine. And then you're gonna go into filter, blur, and you're gonna use something called a where is it? Was it the radial blur? No, it's not the radial blur. Sorry, it's the motion blur. There we go. You're gonna go 90 degrees, so the shininess goes on this direction, and then you're just gonna move it around like this, and there we go. So this one's the hair. It's very easy, super simple. So let's save this as a Targa as well. This is gonna be a specular solder here. I think I misspelled there. Okay, let's make sure that this one is saved as Targa. I think we already have it. No, see, we're missing it. So direction solder, there we go. Okay, cool. So again, I'm just gonna go back here, grab all of my elements here, reassign the ambient occlusion element, and wait for this to finish, export it, save it, and in the next video again, I'm gonna show you how to get all of this into Marmoset. So hang on tight, and I'll see you back on the next video. Bye-bye.